Certainty of death? Small chance of success. What are we waiting for?
Fellas, I feel this is my lucky day.
Brilliant.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of Rankum. This is going to be a fun one today. We're talking about the top 12 live-action remakes of Disney animated movies. It's a bit of a mouthful of a title, but yeah, I just wanted to make clear that's what we're doing. We are being a little bit loose with the term live-action remake because there are some movies such as Maleficent and stuff like that that are technically not remakes, but some people do throw that under that banner. So yeah, but we've got a great panel here. We've got Richie here. Richie, how's it going?
Hey, going good, Malcolm. Looking forward to talking about this. I've got a few things that I would like to bring up, but yeah, I think in general, I think I've got a good assortment of movies here. So good. Happy to talk about it. So.
Next up, we've got Brian. Brian, how's it going?
It's great to be here, talk about favorite topic Disney, and let's see what comes up tonight.
We've also got Jacob Barber here. Jacob, how's it going?
It's going well. Thank you for having me. I enjoy most of these movies, so I'm excited to talk about them.
And last but not least, we've got Richard Schwartz. Richard, how's it going?
Oh, it's going good. This should be a pretty quick one. There aren't that many of them, and most of them do not compare to the original animated, but a lot of them are still pretty good. Should be fun.
Yeah. This could be a really interesting one. As Richie's dog seems to be a lot louder in his new place. But yeah, this could be a really interesting one because this is one it's a really small scope, so we could be getting into just ranking them really quickly if the first 6 movies just get eliminated straight away. But with that, I'm going to go to Brian first, just because Richie's preoccupied. Brian, what's the first movie you're going to bring up?
I'm going to bring up a film that surprised me. I'll bring up Lucy's back, but for me, my first nomination is Dumbo. This really surprised me how well I enjoyed this. You got expanded more on the circus aspect of this compared to the original, and you got a good cast with Evergreen, Dan DeVito, and Marquita reuniting after Batman Returns, so big up Dumbo.
Jacob, what do you say about Dumbo?
Yeah, this is an interesting one because Tim Burton is one of my favorite directors. I absolutely just love his work. But Dumbo was one that was a bit of a letdown for me. I was excited. I was excited to see what he was going to do with it. Like, how do you remake a 65-minute movie? What are you going to add to it? I think what drew me to the anime movie was that we did focus on Dumbo, and it was him. And I like that they went, focus more on the humans and things, but so like they didn't just totally do a shot for shot remake, which I could appreciate, but just something about it just didn't quite work for me. So I'm gonna give it a slight no.
Richard, what do you say about Dumbo?
I'm going to give it a yes. This is one of the few ones where I actually wasn't a fan of the animated Dumbo to begin with. It just wasn't my cup of tea. I didn't really understand it as well when I was a kid. Like, a lot of the circus aspects I get because I was a huge Pinocchio fan as a kid. That was one of the creepiest things about Pinocchio was the circus act of it. But I liked the live action version of it really good. It wasn't as flashy as a lot of the other live actions, but it was still pretty good for me, so I'm giving it a yes.
Richie, what do you say about Dumbo? And remember, you're muted. Richie, you're muted.
I think he's frozen too.
that might be a case as well.
Let's have DS with Wi-Fi, maybe.
You're right there, Richard.
He's muted again.
You're muted.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah. I'll have to abstain because it's one of the few ones I haven't seen.
Yeah, I'm actually going to give this a yes. Like, I rewatched a lot of these this week. Like this is when I first went to cinemas, I really loved it. It went down a little bit for me, but it's still really good. Like, it's one of those ones like I wasn't as attached to the original Dumbo movie as a kid. I know it's one that I watched a lot, but as Jacob said, like it was like literally almost an hour. But I think the stuff that they did add to it, and that I think it really worked just to kind of balance it out. So yeah, Dumbo's going to make this list, and Jacob, we're going to go to you next.
Yeah, so the first one I'll bring up is The Jungle Book. I think this movie is incredible. I think the kid actor, whose name I never remember, what he said. I think he does an incredible job. I love all the voice work in here, from Bill Murray to Christopher Walken. I think it's all of them just do a really good job. And yeah, I love the animated one, and this is one of the few that I think surpass the original. I think Jon Favreau just did an incredible job with this, and one that I can put on any time and just enjoy. And who doesn't love Christopher Walken singing "I Want to Be Like You"? That's just incredible. So I'll go with The Jungle Book.
Richard, what do you say about The Jungle Book?
Oh, it's a hard yes for me. It's clearly the best one out of the live animated. None of them surpass the animated ones. None of them do. Let me just give it clear. But it's the closest that comes to being as good. Maybe if not better. It could be. But I'm the guy who grew up on the animated versions. So I will be biased towards that to the day I'm told. But Jungle Book is clearly the best one, so it's a yes.
This is probably the only one I'd say that for. By the way, I will not say that for any other movies that get brought up.
Richie, what do you say about The Jungle Book?
This is definitely, definitely yes. I think it, like Richard said, it's one of the better ones. I think, like if we didn't have this on this list, we'd be laughed at in the group. So definitely, I everything you said, the Christopher Walken, like Idris Elba as a villain was great. So, I would say definitely yes.
Yeah, The Jungle Book is an easy one for me. Like for me, it's not my favorite out of the actual live action remakes. But I still think it is a pretty good movie. And yeah, it's still an easy yes. Brian, what do you say about The Jungle Book?
Easy yes. This is one of my favorite remakes that happened. Love the voice cast. Even though I'm not a big fan of Scarlett Johansson as Colin Stake, the rest of the voice cast is perfect. So yes for me.
But Richard, what is the next one you're going to bring up?
I'm bringing up Aladdin. I enjoyed it. It's not as good as the animated one, clearly. Will Smith, unfortunately, had to take up the mantle of the late, great Robin Williams as Genie. But what I liked about Will Smith's performance was he wasn't trying to mimic Robin Williams' performance. He was doing his own thing. I felt it really worked. Mina Masood, I thought he did a decent job as Aladdin. He's more of a dancer than he is an actor. And I think Naomi Scott was a great Jasmine. I liked a lot of the songs that are in this one, even the original one from Naomi Scott. It was, or all in all, I really enjoyed this film. Not as good as the animated one, but it was still pretty good on its own as well.
Richie, what do you say about Aladdin?
Yeah, I think if there was more to choose from as far as like live action movies, then I would say no. But because there's only a few, and this movie's not bad. It's just I think that there's some enjoyment to be had here. It is wild. Guy Ritchie directed this movie. I think there's enough yeah, to put it on this list. I think it's decent. It's just it doesn't hold a candle to the original. But yeah, not yeah. So yeah, no, I'd say yes, but not a strong yes.
Yeah. When it comes to Aladdin, this is one that I actively defend. Like a lot of people go straight to cook. Oh, it's a garbage fire. It's really not that good. I actually enjoy this. I do think it gets more hate than it needs. And I mean, like, and I do like that Will Smith is not trying to be Robin Williams. And yeah. But that being said, I would have loved if they managed to work in a Ron Williams reference in the movie, but that is there. Because I'm also one of those ones that I wasn't really that attached to the animated Aladdin movie. I thought the animated one was good, but it's not one that like I go back to a lot. But Brian, what do you say about the live action Aladdin?
I'm gonna give it a yes. I was skeptical at first, like having like Will Smith as genie at first, but it worked actually, and his take on felt like me personally was great. Biggest downfall for me on this one was actually Jafar. Wasn't a big fan of the guy who played him, but the rest of it is fun. So yes for me.
And Jacob, what would you have said about Aladdin?
I would have said yes as well for all the reasons that were mentioned. Yeah, I liked Will Smith's take on the genie, that he didn't try to mimic Robin Williams, and that was absolutely the right choice because no one can mimic that performance. But yeah, I love the songs that were added as well. I like the take on the original songs that were from the animated. And all in all, I just think it's a really good movie.
Richie, with that, Aladdin makes this list. Richie, what is the first one you're going to bring up?
All right, I'm going to bring up sort of an old school one that came out a while ago. I'm going to bring out 101 Dalmatians. I think this movie is pretty good actually. It's a good, good live action remake. I think Glenn Close is really good as Cruella de Vil, and yeah, I think it's just a really fun time. Once again, as we brought up, it's probably not as good as the original, but it's a solid remake, and yeah, I think one that doesn't get talked about enough. So. Yeah, I'll throw it out there. 101 Dalmatians.
Yeah, so when it comes to 101 Dalmatians, like, I actually think it is actually better than the actual animated 101 Dalmatians personally. Because I think Glenn Close is really good as Cruella de Vil, and yeah, and I mean, this is like without realizing it, this is the first time I was ever exposed to Mark Williams, who later went on to play Arthur Weasley in the Wizarding World. He was one of the henchmen. But Brian, what do you say about 101 Dalmatians?
Yeah, this is a DC. Yes, for me, it's I love differences. How we have Roger instead of being a pianist, he's more of a video game designer. And I also love Glenn Close's performance in this film. And also I think she's doing person for the film transfer to the sequel as well, which probably we'll talk about later if we can do. And I quite enjoy Hugh Laurie as well the henchman as well. And plus, even though the last half is like sort of Home Alone-esque toward the end, but the rest of it I quite enjoy. So yes, for me.
Jacob, what do you say about 101 Dalmatians?
Yeah, I'll give it a yes as well. This is one that I hadn't seen for a while. I rewatched it earlier this week, and I had a lot of fun with it. I like Jeff Daniels as Roger. I also like the change from him being like this piano player to a video game designer. I thought that was really cool. And yeah, Hugh Laurie and Mark Williams as the henchman are fantastic. I think they're a lot of fun. But this is Glenn Close's movie. She absolutely kills it as Cruella, and yeah, it's one that I had a lot of fun with. So I'll give it a yes.
Richard, what would you have said about 101 Dalmatians?
Oh, it's a yes for me. I think it's just interesting because it's the first remake of the live action, or close to the first live action remake of a Disney animated, the 90s. It was good. Glenn Close does a fabulous job as Cruella. The only thing I always had trouble with, because I was so used to the dogs talking from the animated one, not hearing the dogs talk in this one, but obviously that wouldn't be realistic, but it was still really good.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I always find it funny that even like recently, it's like going, oh, Disney's remaking their animated movies. Like they've been doing it since the 90s, but yet it's only too recently that people started complaining about it. Um, and I mean, I really hope that we get the original actual sequel to the One Around Dalmatians book, but that's never going to happen for reasons. If you read up about it, that's a really crazy story. um, but with that, it's on to me to go. You know what? I'm going to sort of make go on a transition. So I'm just going to bring up Cruella because this is look, when this was announced, I was like, why do we need this? Like, I wasn't too sure if Emma Stone was going to be good as Cruella and whether if she could live up to Glenn Close, but I think she managed to make it work. I think Emma Thompson was great as the villain Baroness, and it was just a lot of fun. And Paul Walter-Hauser as can't I was
I
either
think he
Horace or
was
Jasper. I can't remember which one.
Horse, I believe.
Yeah, but it was just a lot of fun. Apparently we're getting a sequel to this. Supposedly it wasn't announced at D20, like confirmed at D23, but it's probably happening. It's going to be interesting to see where this goes because with the way this ends, it's really different to where she was in 101 Dalmatians, that's for sure. But Brian, what do you say about Cruella?
Yeah, I quite enjoy this Disney version of the Joker. Actually, it's a great origin story of yeah. It's sort of Joker-esque film for me. So I love the the music they chose for this, even the fashion used in this film as well. So yes for me.
Jacob, what do you say about Cruella?
This is another one that I watched this week. I hadn't watched it up until that point, and I had a good time with it. I think Emma Stone as Cruella was really good playing those kind of two different characters, like Estella and then Cruella. Like I think she did a really good job. Emma Thompson was fantastic as the Baroness. I really wanted to see her go down. So I think when you want to see somebody go down, it's a sign that they're portraying their character very well. And yeah, Paul Walter Hauser as Horace just absolutely stole every scene that he was in. I absolutely loved him. I think if anybody else had played Horace, I might not have had as much fun with this movie as I did. So I'll give it a yes.
And yeah, as I said at the start of the show, Gaff, like we're being somewhat loose with the term live action remake, because if we stuck to strictly live action remakes, there really is. I don't think you've done 12 actual remakes yet. Like there's been a lot of sort of
the remakes of different movies. I believe
there've been a lot of looser adaptations and stuff, but yeah. So I thought I'll do this even though some of these technically don't count, but it's my show. I'm doing it this way. Richard, what do you say about Cruella?
I'm saying no for two reasons. One, I haven't seen it. And two, the reason I have not seen it is because I'm kind of tired of people trying to humanize the villain. Cruella de Vil is one of the people that are straight up a villain. You don't need to try to humanize her. And I know what this movie was trying to do, was trying to humanize her to a degree. Cruella de Vil is supposed to be like a straight up just evil B word. And I don't like when they keep on doing that. So I still haven't seen it, but I just wasn't a fan of them trying to humanize a character. A villain needs to just be a villain sometimes, and this is one of the characters that just did straight up be a villain.
Richie, what do you say about Cruella?
Yeah, yeah. Just put in when you do the poll, just caveat and say, I know some of these aren't remakes because people go crazy when things aren't to the letter.
I
It's weird.
I
Just
I
like
I,
yeah.
I
Anyway,
always do whether or not people. Yeah, no, I always do whether or not people actually read my blurbs on the polls is another thing.
yeah. I don't know. Anyway, beyond that, this is definitely a yes. I love Krill. It was one of my favorite movies of last year. I think I think it's fantastic. I think I wasn't sure of Emma Stone being Cruella. I thought it was an interesting casting. There were other people in the running for the role that I thought better suited, but no, she proved me wrong. She killed it in this role. Yeah, Emma Thompson as a villain is amazing, and yeah, I think since I Tonya, Paul Walter Hauser is like this Hollywood gem. I love seeing him on screen every time he's in something. And yeah, the soundtrack to this movie is fucking great. I love the soundtrack to this movie. Yeah, so it's a yes from me.
But anyway, Brian, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
Yeah, I'm going to see how this one goes. I'm going to bring up Christopher Robin. This is a film that even though it's not a remake, it's sort of like a continuation of the Winnie Pooh stories with a girl Christopher Robin trying to rekindle his childhood with Pooh and friends. And I love seeing having Ewan McGregor play the role as Christopher. And even plus some of the voice cast is back. Like Jim Cummings back as Pooh and Tigger. You got Pierre Capaldi, I believe, is Rabbit. And I had a lot of fun with this. Even love to see at the end, you got Richard Sherman playing the piano at the end, paying tribute to it. So let's go with Christopher Robin.
Jacob, what do you say about Christopher Robin?
Yeah, this might be a quick episode. I'm gonna say yes. I really like this one. I like the Ewan McGregor as Christopher Robin, and I thought it was an interesting premise. Like, what is Christopher Robin up to as an adult? And it was fun seeing these, Winnie the Pooh and Tigger and all these characters back on screen. I really had a good time with it, and I'll give it a yes.
Richard, what do you say about Christopher Robin?
Oh, it's a yes for me. I feel like Winnie the Pooh has been very neglected during this run of Disney. Like, you don't get much Winnie the Pooh anymore. I feel like this generation's missing out on Winnie the Pooh. It's some of my best in my
Except for Winnie the
childhood.
Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Yeah, but still.
Film.
Ewan McGregor was great in this. Haley Atwell is really good in it. And I love me some Winnie the Pooh.
Richie, what do you say about Christopher Robin?
I'm gonna have to leave it up to you because I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I mean, those that know me know this is in my like top 100 movies of all time. Like, I love Christopher Robin. I grew up on Winnie the Pooh. Like, this is just one of those characters always resonated with me, and it's just been one that I've watched countless times. I had it when I rewatched this week. And I just had a lot of fun with this, and it's just good to see Ewan McGregor and Haley Atwell. And yeah, so yeah, it's an easy yes. It's making the list. Jacob, what is your next nomination?
I will go with Beauty and the Beast. I know this one seems pretty divisive. People either love it or don't really care for it. I really enjoyed it. I think Emma Watson, yeah, sure, the singing, but I think her as Belle overall, she put in a pretty good performance. I like Luke Evans and Josh Gad as Gaston and LeFou. I think they were pretty fun together. I like the backstory of Belle's dad and what happened with her mom. I like that addition. Overall, I have a good time with it, and I didn't know it's nowhere near the original. That one's a Best Picture nominee for a reason, but I think this one is good, and I really enjoy it. So I'll try Beauty and the Beast.
Richard, what do you say about Beauty and the Beast?
The only reason why people didn't like this because they didn't like LeFou being gay. That was the only thing I ever heard bad about this movie. I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. The cast is amazing in this. I mean, you got Ewan McGregor, you have Kevin Kline, you have Ian McKellen, you have Emma Thompson. I mean, Emma Stone. I mean, Emma Watson did really good as Belle. I enjoyed the hell of this movie. Clearly not as good as the animated, but I mean, you're not going to beat Angela Lansbury's performance of the song "Beauty and the Beast." It was still good. It's a yes for me.
Richie, what do you say about Beauty and the Beast?
I'm going to take a page out of your book and say, yeah, I thought this movie was fine. But again, we're there's not a lot to choose from, and like there is some enjoyment to be had in here. I feel like I went in like I'm not a fan of Josh Gad. I'm just not. I think he overreacts in movies, but he was fine. He was actually okay in this movie. I think the role kind of fit him. And yeah, I think that there's enough enjoyment here to be had. But yeah, I don't think it's one of the stronger outputs Disney live action wise. But I'll go. But I'll still say yes.
Yeah, funnily enough, I really love this. I think this is great. And I actually completely forgot. Like, this is the second movie remake has Emma Thompson and Ewan McGregor in it. Because they're both voices in here. But yeah, this is a lot of fun. Like, I know there's a lot of the complaints I actually heard about this was that was Emma Watson singing. I thought her singing was great. Like, if it's all true or not, I don't care. It was I thought her performance was good. I really enjoyed her singing, and yeah. Brian, what do you say about Beauty and the Beast?
I'll give it a yes. I love this remake. I love the new songs added to it. Evermore, Days of the Sun. And I love seeing the backstory of the Beast's mother as well. It had great music. Luke Evans was great as Gaston. And echo what everyone says, Richard said about great cast. So it's yes for me.
But with that, we go over to Richard. What is your first next one you bring up?
See, this is tough because we're getting kind of close to the point where it's like not too many great ones left. I'm gonna go with Alice in Wonderland, the first Tim Burton one. I enjoyed the movie. It was super weird, super confusing at times, but Johnny Depp was fun as the Mad Hatter. I liked the girl who played Alice. I liked Anne Hathaway in this, and it's a trippy movie. Still a really interesting trippy movie. So I'm gonna go with Alice in Wonderland.
Richie, what do you say about Alice in Wonderland?
Yeah, I'm not one of Tim Burton's better ones, but like yeah, as Richard said, I think like we're just getting to the point where I think we're just gonna have to put some of these on the list. And there's some enjoyment to be had here. I do like exploring this world. And it's certainly better than Alice Through the Looking Glass. The sequel that movie sucks. Not a strong yes, but I'll say yes.
Yeah. I mean, I just finished rewatching Alice in Wonderland this morning. I really enjoyed this. Like, I think Johnny Depp is the best when he's playing the weirder characters. And I think it really shows his, especially with his portrayal of the Mad Hatter. And just like Chris Robin, this is another one that's arguably a continuation as opposed to a remake, but it's still a lot of fun, and I think the whole fights against the Jabberwockies are just really great. So this is a yes for me. Brian, what would you say about Alice in Wonderland?
I'm going to say no. Compared to this one to the anime one, the anime was more superior. This was more darker and pitch her like as a warrior-esque character, so I'm going to give it a no.
Jacob, what do you say about Alice in Wonderland?
I'll give it a yes. Of Tim Burton's live action remakes that he's done, I prefer this one over Dumbo. I think Johnny Depp as the Mad Hatter is just a lot of fun, and I think again when you look at the cast, like this one's pretty stacked as well. I think all the voice cast and just it's a fun time. It's a trippy time, and if I can have a fun time with it, I think think you accomplished what you're setting out, in my opinion. So I'll give it a yes.
But with that, Alice in Wonderland is making this list. Richie, we go to you.
All right. There's one I think I'm avoiding bringing up that's not very good, but I think we're going to bring it up eventually anyway. But I'll bring this one up. I'm gonna go for one. I don't know. I thought it was pretty It seemed like it was pretty underseen when it came out on Disney Plus, but I thought it was okay for what it was. So I'll go with Lady and the Tramp. I think I think that this movie, again, like it's not very memorable in terms of compared to the other ones, but I did have some enjoyment here, and it was good to revisit that story. But I do think maybe this movie has the same issue that Lion King does, where it's like there's two they're almost to the point where it's kind of it hurts the film, but like there is some enjoyment to be had here. So again, not a strong. I'm not going to put it forward strongly, but I will. I'll go Lady and the Tramp.
See, the difference with Lady and the Tramp and the Lion King is Lady and the Tramp used real dogs. Lion King did not.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, that's right. I was like, how they CGI and they're actual dogs. Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, no, and it's actually a really nice story because, with Lady and the Tramp, all those dogs were actually dogs they had rescued from dog rescue, and they all got rehomed after the movie. So, cool. they got all these dogs and then they rehomed them, and I just rewatched this yesterday, and out of the two Disney Plus ones, the other one may or may not come up later. I don't know, but this is definitely the better one. Because I really enjoyed when it comes to Lady and the Tramp, the animated one is just really forgettable to me. I know I've seen it a few times, but it's just one that if you'd ask me what happened in it, I would not remember. But but this live action remake was a lot of fun, and a surprisingly stacked cast too. Because you got the likes of Tessa Thompson, Sam Elliott is in here, Yvette Nicole Brown from Community, Justin Theroux, just a whole bunch of interesting casts, and this is what I probably would have gone for next anyway. But Brian, what do you say about Lady and the Tramp?
To be fair, you have two actors for comedians. You got Ken Jeong and Yvette Nicole Brown on this. Yeah, for this one, I'll give it. Actually, this surprised me. I was very interested to see this one. Loved the trailer, and I quite enjoyed the differences in this one. You got rid of the whole racial thing with the Siamese cats, and and I quite enjoyed this one a lot. Love the cast in it. Love the tag of Bel Notte in this compared to the original. So it's yes for me.
I completely forgot they took out the Siamese cats from this, but I actually thought that was the Aristocats. Jacob, what do you say about Lady and the Tramp?
Yeah, I'll give this one a yes as well. I really enjoyed it. I thought I think this one is kind of forgotten because it's not one of the more loved animated movies. I think it's they remember the spaghetti scene. Like obviously that's an iconic Disney moment. People talk about that, but I don't feel like the movie itself is talked about as much as some of the other ones that they've been remaking, like some of these 90s and things. So it seemed like an odd choice to remake, but I think they did a good job with it. Yeah, I like the voice cast, and it was just a good time. There's nothing inherently wrong with it, but it's not going to blow you away either. But it's a good watch. So I'll say yes.
And Richard, what you've said about Lady and the Tramp?
I mean, it's an animated movie. I was very didn't care about. Live action movie was fine. Didn't really care about it, but it's still better than a lot of other runs that they've made. So that's a yes. I mean, it was it's more like everyone said, no one really wanted a remake of Lady the Tramp. The kissing scene, the spaghetti thing, is the only thing that's really memorable. and it was a fine watch. I mean, I didn't have any like negative or positive opinions about it. So with it being not that many like good ones left, why not put it on the list?
And aren't we getting Aristocrats one eventually anyway? I think we are getting Aristocrats one
So
at
yeah.
some point soon.
thing.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the Siamese Cats was the in the Aristocats. It wasn't like
No, that was everybody was.
No,
a
it was
cat.
it was
We are Siamese as a champ.
yeah,
I mean, that probably wouldn't fly anyway in this generation.
right.
I mean, either way, it's probably not whichever version we're talking about. It probably won't be there either. So, but anyway, um, but on to me, and I'm actually surprised this one hasn't come up yet because a lot of people do kind of say this is probably the one of the best ones, and it was probably one of the first ones of this new trend of doing the live action remakes. It's Cinderella. And this is a movie that I think is really good. Like this is another one which I don't, which doesn't really get talked about a lot nowadays, but um, it is just a really good remake of the animated one, and I think Kenneth Branagh did a good job, and I think Lily James was great as Cinderella, and even the supporting cast was a lot of fun. But yeah, so Cinderella's on the table. Brian, what do you say about Cinderella?
Yeah, this is actually very. Here's $8 from Richie. I would give it a yes. This surprised me. I was a big fan of this. I love Kate Blanchett was great as the evil stepmother. That's another remake with Helena Bonham Carter as the fairy godmother as well. So I would give it a yes. It's a big improvement than the original, and it's a yes for me.
Jacob, I believe you saw this for the first time this week. What do you say about it?
I did. I finished it a couple hours ago actually, and I really enjoyed it. I think Lily James is really good as Cinderella, and yeah, Kate Blanchett is really good as the stepmother. I think the stepsisters, I think they're a lot of fun. Kind of these dopey, can't really do anything, but it's a good thing mom's around. I think I had a lot of fun with them. I liked the addition of the backstory at the beginning, kind of what happened to her father. I like that addition. I miss the music. I think that's one of the things that makes these animated movies a lot of fun. I really enjoy the addition of music in those, but so that's like my only gripe with it. But overall, like I still had a really good time with it, and I had a lot of fun. So I'll give it a yes.
I mean, the songs are featured in the end credits of the film, so
Yeah, but I mean that's not quite the same thing.
yeah.
Richard, what do you say about Cinderella?
It's a yes for me. My major problem with Cinderella as a character in general is she's just boring. Like I felt like the original animated was just so boring. It was so like outdated. Like you can tell it was during whatever the 50s or 60s or wherever it came out. Like I just wasn't a huge Cinderella person, and the movie was fine. It was really good. I just I find Cinderella as a character just boring. She's the Superman of the Disney animated princesses. Very bland. But yeah, good. It's a yes for me.
Richie, what do you say about Cinderella?
Yeah, like when like I started reviewing movies for his radio station, one of the first assignments I had was to review like Cinderella. So me and my like best friend walked in there like with me, Billy. I don't know if it was like toxic masculinity, but we were kind of embarrassed to watch Cinderella. We're like, we're just pretending. Oh, Fast and Furious is going to be great, isn't it? Just pretending we walked into the wrong theater. But no, I actually didn't mind. But all in all, I did actually mind this movie. I actually agree with Richard. I think Cinderella as a character is boring. I thought like Kate Blanchett actually stole the show here. I think I thought she was really good. I'm not saying that because I'm biased. I'm not biased. I'm Australian, but also she's great. Yes, but I think it is all in all decent films, and it deserves to be on this list. So I'd say yes.
With that, Cinderella's making this list. And Brian, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
We'll see how this goes. I'm going to bring up Maleficent. even though it's another film based on a villain, we do get her backstory of how she became evil, and we do get some of the characters from the original with Wara, the fairies, even King Stefan, and I quite enjoyed this one. I had fun with, so I'll bring up Maleficent.
Jacob, what do you say about Maleficent?
I say Maleficent is the pettiest Disney villain of all time. Like, she's gonna get that upset because she wasn't invited to a birthday party. Come on now. But with that said, I do like the movie.
man,
I think. What? I think
He's frozen again.
But no, I think
Uh,
Angelina Jolie as Maleficent is really good. I like Elle Fanning. Yeah, the fairies. I like. Yeah, I have a good time with it. I think it's one of the better ones. Like we're scraping towards the bottom of the list now, so it's this or some of the other ones that haven't been mentioned yet. So I'll give this one a yes.
Richard, what do you say about Maleficent?
I didn't like the movie, but the problem is, I think it's a yes, just because I think it is better than a lot of what we have left. I mean, there is one I'm bringing up, like when it gets back to my turn, but I mean, again, Maleficent, Sleeping Beauty, boring character. Like it was just a boring movie to begin with. I think just Angelina Jolie did a good job in the role. I think just her performance alone is a yes for me.
And Richie, what would you have said about? What would you say about Maleficent?
I'm here, right? Not frozen.
Yeah.
Or am I? Cool. Yeah, I think it's fine, but yeah, I'm sort of in the rich where it's like, yeah, we don't have a lot. There is definitely one that's left that is good, but I'm sure someone will bring it up before I do. So yeah, and I think it's all right. It's certainly better than a couple of other ones that have been left off the table so far. So I would say yes, but not a strong yes.
Yeah, this is one that I also would have given a slight yes. Like I've got about 2 movies higher than this, but at least I don't think they're going to get on this list, or going to ever actually come up. But yeah, and I think Maleficent is good. And I think, look, for me, I think Angelina Jolie's performance in this is really good, and I think not a lot of people actually talk about that aspect. Everyone's just like, movie bad, let move on. So yeah, Maleficent is making this list. And Jacob, we've got 1 spot left. What is the movie you're going to bring up?
I will bring this one up just because I want to hear other people's opinions on it, because I seem to be in the minority pretty early on. So I will bring up Pinocchio. I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it. I thought Tom Hanks put in a good performance. I liked the look of the puppet, and that it wasn't like they made it look like the original character, and I enjoyed that. I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt as the voice of Jiminy Cricket, I really enjoyed that. Keegan as the voice of the fox, I thought he was a lot of fun. I like the addition of the new character that Pinocchio gets to know. I'm not trying to go into too much in case some people haven't seen it, but overall I had a good time with it, and I don't think it's as bad as people say. So I'm just curious to hear what other people's thoughts are, and we're making good time, and so I figured I'll bring it up and see what other people have to say about it.
Richard, have you seen New Pinocchio?
I have not seen it. I've heard the spoiler about it, and if that spoiler is correct, I will say it's a hard no, because it's the whole point of the fucking movie. So no.
Richie, what have you seen New Pinocchio?
Not yet, so I have to abstain.
I will say, if the spoiler that you've heard, it's unclear if it doesn't officially happen, but they don't say it doesn't happen. So, but But anyway, I have seen the new Pinocchio. Look, I also don't think it's as bad as people say it is. I also don't think it's that good either. Look, I like Tom Hanks's performance as Geppetto. This is a movie I gave 3 stars on Letterboxd. Like I thought it was fine. Like it adapted the story really well. One of my big issues with it is the CGI, because I get that they wanted to make the characters look like the animated ones, but they did it in a way that when they put them in these live action scenarios, they look like really weird plastic things which just did not work. I feel like they could have done more to make Pinocchio look more wooden as opposed to looking like a plastic toy. Um, even same with Jiminy Cricket, like I like Joseph Gordon's performance, but he just looked really plasticky compared to the CGI for Monster and all that, which actually looked real. Um, I'm going to give it a slight yes, though, just because I really don't want any of the other ones on there. Brian, have you seen the new Pinocchio?
Haven't seen it.
Unfortunately, Pinocchio's not making this list.
I didn't think it would. I just wanted to hear people's thoughts.
Yeah. But we've got one spot left. Richard, we go
All right.
back to you.
I have a question, because this would break every single rule about this point of this list. It's not an animated Disney movie. There's a lot of animated parts. There is live action to it. It's based on a Disney TV show. Could it still work? Would you bypass it? There's so much yes
what-
and wrong about this, but I think it's still far better than a lot of these left. It's the Chippendales Rescue Rangers movie. Can I say yes?
More of a hybrid, so
Well,
It's a hybrid. There's live action parts.
yeah. No, I'm going to say no to the hat.
Okay, then my nomination is 102 Dalmatians. It's still good. It's not as good as the first one, but it's still loads better than the rest that we have left. So I'm doing 102 Dalmatians. Glenn Close does a good job again.
Yeah. Richie, what do you say about 102 Dalmatians?
So I think there is still one decent movie we haven't brought up, but this is a decent movie as well. So yeah, I don't know. I don't feel too strongly about the one we haven't brought up. I'll just bring up honorable mentions if it gets to it. So yeah, and I like 102 Dalmatians, so I'll say yes.
Are you going to say you're the one person in the world that likes the Lion King movie?
There is one movie we have not talked about. Anyway.
There were Mulan, no Mushu, no son, no Be a Man. Sorry, that's a no.
no music.
I mean, I could bring it up now, but
Well, I mean, we're going to get to honorable mentions, or the ones that didn't get brought up after this anyway. But yeah,
yeah.
I liked the 102 Dalmatians. I thought it was good. I'm going to say yes, because out of the ones that I haven't brought up, I think it is a better than. As I said, there's one more movie I've got higher than that, but based on what people have already said about it, I don't think it's making this list. Brian, what do you say about 102 Dalmatians?
Yeah, for me, I'll give it a yes to end the list. I quite enjoy this one. I quite enjoy Eric Idle as the parrot in this one. And even Griffin gave a good performance as the new character for I'll remember what character you play, but I quite enjoyed his performance, and I quite enjoyed the little Easter egg we get of them watching the Dalmatians watching they in Champs. So, and Glenn Close got another set of performance, so it's a yes for me.
Jacob, what would you have said about 102 Dalmatians?
I would have said no, but just because I haven't seen it in a while and I don't really remember much about it. Had I rewatched it this week, maybe I would feel differently. But just for those reasons, I would have said no.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I rewatched it this week is I just finished watching one of our Dalmatians. Like, the Disney Plus was like, you've seen this now, go watch the sequel because why
Yes,
not?
I
But with that, we have closed out the list. We're going to talk about honorable
Pete's Dragon.
mentions or
Sorry.
yeah. Look, I will with Pete's Dragon. It's one of those ones that we did talk about in the chat. I didn't actually give an official ruling on. I probably wouldn't have allowed that, just like Chip and Dale, because just like Chip and Dale, the original was a live action hybrid, and it was just one of those trickier ones.
Yeah, I know.
The only reason I want Chip and Dale is because, like, what category would you put it in to begin with? That's like, this is the closest you could put it for a category.
I mean,
It's so weird.
live action animated hybrid movies, which we've already done as a topic.
Which we did on Rankum. We did on
But still.
Rankum.
No
I
one
wasn't
chatted on there.
Yeah, no, it's one of those ones. Like I do get the argument for those ones. It's just that I had to make a call somewhere, and and thought like I talked to a few other people about this, like about what they would do. Is like
if it was just like if it was just like Disney live action remakes, that could have been like a lot easier. Because I mean, I could have mentioned The Parent Trap, or
Well,
Yeah.
Parent Trap is always talk about live remake the animated film, so.
oh, I mean that's like, but this list was like super limited to begin with. Might as well just made it.
Well,
a
I mean,
total.
it's one of those ones. I've done Disney live action movies before, so if I wanted to do something a little bit different on that line. But anyway, going back to honorable mentions, the one that I wanted to bring up, but because I didn't think that it'll get, because everyone said it when they were talking about Alice in Wonderland. I actually really do and really like Alice Through the Looking Glass. I think it's a lot of fun.
I haven't seen it.
But I didn't think it was going to come up.
You're not missing much.
Yeah. And like, and the Mulan is fine. Lion King is the Lion King.
I
and for
actually
some
don't
reason-
hate The Lion King, but I don't consider it live action. It's just CGI. It could have
Yes.
basically could have just
I
made
mean,
another animated
Look,
movie.
the only reason I would have counted it for this is they've called it live action, even though we all know it's animated.
And it
Chip
was
and Dale's is more live action than The Lion King.
Well, to be fair, Chip and Dale was more Roger Rabbit than the action remake. So.
But yeah, I mean, there really isn't. I mean, honestly, there really isn't much more honorable mentions. But I think Jacob might be the only one that's seen the original '90s Jungle Book. Is it any good?
It's been a while, but I did. Yeah, it was. I remember it being pretty solid.
Wasn't there a Tarzan one, or was that not based on the animated one, or was just another
It
Tarzan?
wasn't based on the animated one.
Okay.
It wasn't based
I
on
believe
animated. It was based on.
Carrie Elwes was in it, I believe.
In the Jungle Book.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was
yeah,
Tracy
yeah.
Scott Lee, Carrie Elwes, Sam Neill, Lena Headey, John Cleese. Yeah, there's a pretty good cast.
I mean, with like Who Fully Loaded, I don't really consider it a reboot. It's just a
More
sequel.
continuation.
But yeah, and as Garth said, another topic Chip and Dale could fit into his movies adapted from TV shows, which is another one that we've done before.
Of that redux of it.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, now we're going to get into the actual voting for this. But yeah,
All right.
the way we vote is we write on a whiteboard. What
I don't have my whiteboard with me, so I'll just say what I already know.
just that.
Let's look at the
Brian, what do you
list.
have for
Yep.
12?
Alice in Wonderland.
Jacob,
102 Dalmatians.
Richard,
Maleficent. Ugh.
Maleficent.
Yes, that one.
Richie,
Yeah, that word, Maleficent.
I also put 102 Dalmatians. So, Brian, 102 Dalmatians or Maleficent?
I'll go with well two Dalmatians.
Jacob, what do you have for 11?
Yeah, now I have Maleficent.
Richard,
Same.
Richie,
I forgot Will Smith didn't go through, so I put Alice in Wonderland, but yeah. Anyway.
it's all right, Maleficent. Right.
Same going with Alice in Wonderland.
Richard,
Cinderella.
Richie,
Alice in Wonderland.
One Around Dalmatians. Brian,
Same here, Alice in Wonderland.
Jacob,
I would have said Dumbo.
Alice in Wonderland is going to be at 10. On to 9, and Richie, what do you have at 9?
Dumbo.
Sticking with One Around Dalmatians. Brian,
I'll go with Cruella.
Jacob,
I stuck with Dumbo.
Richie,
Cinderella.
but it's going to be Dumbo. I've still got One Around Dalmatians. Brian,
Still stuck with Cruella.
Jacob,
Lady and the Tramp.
Richard,
Cinderella.
Richie,
Lady and the Tramp.
Brian, what do you have at 7?
Still sticking with Cruella.
Jacob,
101 Dalmatians.
Richard,
Corella.
Richie,
I can read the room.
Cinderella.
One Around Dalmatians.
No tie, I guess.
So Richard, One Around Dalmatians.
Actually, it'd be Richie.
Yeah, I realised that just as I said it. Richie, One Around Dalmatians or Corella at 7.
101 Dalmatians.
There'd have to be the moment of the night, though. I can read the room.
Good quality here.
Alright, Jacob, what do you have at 6?
I have Aladdin.
Richard,
Cinderella. Let's go back.
Richie, What was that? So,
Okay, this is the word I
Beauty and
will.
the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast. Aladdin. At Brian.
I think 6 is a good spot for Christopher Robin.
But
Oh.
Aladdin is going to be.
Oh, that's painful.
Got 5 movies left, and it's The Jungle Book, Cruella, Christopher Robin, Beauty and the Beast, and Cinderella. Richard,
Cinderella.
Richie,
Cinderella.
I'm probably going to be alone on an island. The Jungle Book. Brian,
I put Christopher. I was looking to thinking of Christopher Robin.
and Jacob.
I said Cruella.
So Cinderella is. And Richie, what do you have it for?
Christopher Robin.
Also, Stephen, did you really want the Lion King on this list or Maleficent, Mistress of Evil? There's only a limited amount of movies that we could have brought
What
up.
about Trey?
The Jungle Book.
Christopher Robin.
I'm stuck with Cruella.
And Richard.
Cruella.
Cruella is going to be at 4.
Well, me and Brian both said Christopher Robin, and
Yes.
Malcolm was the tie.
Richard both said.
I hate to do this because I love this movie, but it's also my literal number 4.
Oh, you're evil. Pooh is crying inside.
I mean, it made top 4, so
It's such a good film acting performance. Oh, it's far surpasses Cruella.
I mean,
Haven't seen it. I can tell it far surpasses Cruella.
it was a bit
I was gonna
defended. But I forgot. Jacob, what do you have it for?
I'll stick with Cruella.
Richard,
Cruella.
Richie,
Beauty and the Beast.
The Jungle Book, Brian.
Cruella.
Cruella is going to be 3. Means instead of going for number 2, we're going straight to number 1, which is between The Jungle Book and The Beauty and the Beast.
Which are 1 and 2 on my personal list.
Same here.
Richard, what do you have for number 1?
Jungle Book.
Richie, what do you have for number 1?
Jungle Book.
Okay.
Jungle Book.
I was about to say, Lady Chap is already taken.
Beauty and the Beast, Brian.
Where these have Christopher Walken say, well, we like you, the Jungle Book.
And
Yep.
Jungle Book is going to be number 1.
Also, number 1 on Letterboxd for what remakes.
Snow White and the Husband wasn't made by Disney, so it doesn't count. At least I don't think it was. I don't. But
Universal.
yeah, no, I don't think. But that's more adapted from the actual source material as opposed to as it being a remake of the animated, which is coming. But with that, our top 12 Disney live action remakes of animated movies. At number 12, we've got 102 Dalmatians. At 11, we've got Maleficent. At 10, we got Alice in Wonderland. At 9, we got Dumbo. At 8, we got Lady and the Tramp. At 7, we got 101 Dalmatians. At 6, we got Aladdin. At 5, we got Cinderella. At 4, we got Christopher Robin. At 3, we got Cruella. And at 2, we got Beauty and the Beast. And number 1 is The Jungle Book. But that brings us to the end of Rankin for this week. I've got the poll up on the page now for what you want to see next week. But that being said, Brian, where can people find you online?
Yeah, you can find me Sons of the Movie Hero Network, which I'm going to be on for the sitcom championship. I do trivia most of the time. I do on JPL League, being Richie most of the time. I have matches recently come out on the Del Pickle Network, where I face Chris. Played something different this past Monday, which I guess Malcolm. I'm currently in the Disney Pixar League on Defining Con Network, which I'm filming my tournament match tomorrow, and other trivia leagues you can find me on.
And Jacob, where can people find you online?
Yeah, you can catch me over at the Movie Hero Network as well. I sometimes participate in tier ranker and tournament fights, but I also host a couple shows on the channel. The Lonely Marks podcast, I believe we decided this upcoming week, we're going to be doing another wrestling draft. We did one earlier, and then so now we're going to add on to those, drafting wrestlers that have not previously been drafted. And then I host a podcast about movies with Austin Howell, which is about every couple weeks. Now we just did a Hollywood draft actually last night. That was a lot of fun. So it was basically if we were running a studio and we could sign actors, directors, and composers to exclusive contracts, like who would we want to see work together. It was a lot of fun, kind of a fantasy what if scenario. So check that out. It's a bit of a longer episode. So if you have an extra 3 hours, feel free to check that out.
So like a No More Tournament Fights episode.
I mean, it's still shorter than a tournament fight episode, to be honest. Did anyone draft the letter H from the Hollywood sign?
It's close.
But Richard, where can people find you online?
Facebook under Richard Schwartz, YouTube and Twitter under External Void. You can find me in the fan leagues. Haven't had a match in a long time, but who knows? I'm around. I work at 7-Eleven, the Graveyard Shift in Los Angeles, so you can find me there too most of the time.
Richie, where can people find you online?
Yeah, you can find me on Tournament Fights and Tier Ranker. I think the next Tournament Fights I'm going to be on is I think it's next week with JPO's top.
I believe on Tuesday I think it's on.
Yeah.
Man, you know the schedule, right? Yeah, that day. What he said. But yeah, so yeah, I'll be on there. Yeah, you can find me on Lonely Marks. Yeah, we're going to do a draft for the wrestlers we didn't draft before. So that should be a lot of fun. Yeah, and we tuned to our last episode. We went pretty long, talked about recapped Clash of the Castle and All Out, and also talked a lot about AEW drama, which was a lot. So, other than that, I'm not sure when it is, but keep an eye out for. I will be facing your esteemed host Malcolm at a show about trivia in one of the tournament JPO's got going. Other than that, I'll be doing a podcast called Telling Their Streaming with my friend Robert Cameron, where we talk about Tubi, all the weird and wonderful movies on Tubi. So we're doing a podcast there. We film we record every Wednesday. So but yeah, we haven't worked out a proper schedule yet. So yeah, but keep an eye for that. We just finished reviewing Fist of Bruce Lee, which is a Bruce Lee movie, which is a Bruce Exploitation movie. It's very bad, but it's very fun. And so check that out. And other than that, I'm around. I'm on Classic sometimes. I'm on here. So yeah.
And you can find me on Take 3, hosting Rankum every week. I think I'm on JPO's tournament. Jordan Anson hasn't. I've made the group yet. I don't think so. I'm not sure if it. But I think he said I was on that one. But anyway, but with that being said, I'm around. And yeah, I'm definitely going to be on the 2018 tournament when it comes up. I'm actually making the brackets for it because while Jordan's on holiday, so yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And with that being said, I forgot there was no one else to talk. But if that being said, that is the end of class random ranking for this week.
You'll get there.